typical like I'm in the group with Matt and like Los that's unbelievably pessimistic. The only reason why I feel a little bit better generally is because like last year the team barely played together and was like a hodgepodge of just a lot of crap going in and out, and they added like so much more talent. Like if you do like a whole of like who left and who came, like and who's coming in, like you talk about like losing, like considering that Dinwiddie doesn't even count because he didn't actually play last year, like the losing like Jeff Green, Tyler Johnson, Shamit, Mike James, TLC, like whatever, and then adding like Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, Millsap, a full year of Aldridge, Javon Carter, Bembry. Like it's just that like it's a complete, like the team is so much more talented.
They're
That
bigger too.
and they're bigger,
Yeah.
which was the thing everybody complained about last year. So like so my thing is like I agree with you guys and I hear you on everything you guys are saying about who's guarding really good point guards, and also against a team like the Hawks, like I'm definitely nervous about their athleticism, but like I think they actually got stronger, and I actually think they got friskier because a bunch of the guys that left besides Jeff Green didn't contribute last year, like at all, like literally
I,
zero.
but I think everyone sleeps on how important Jeff Green was last year. Jeff Green wasn't just some role player. Like I loved Ed Davis when he was here. Ed Davis was a good player, but he didn't have the impact Jeff Green had. Jeff Green was probably the best bench player I've seen on the Brooklyn Nets. That is,
The one thing I'll say about Millsap over him though, much better on the glass than Green was.
Yeah, and he's so much. And
He's had double-digit rebounds twice already.
Yep.
I definitely I didn't like how we looked offensively in the first few games. This game, it looked like he was finding his purpose. You know, he even in his last stop, what was that, Denver? He had a very heavy role. Like they depended on him, and of course they should have. They paid him. They gave him a lot of money. But he's got to figure out how to be impactful without being the guy shooting, deep threes and bodying his way, bully balling his way to the glass. Like he needs to rebound. He needs to play defense. He needs to hit shots when he's wide open. And tonight looked like he showed he could do it. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he's gonna have every time he dribbles, I'm like something bad's gonna happen. But if he just kind of
Right.
plays within himself, take the shots that are
Yep.
given to you, crash the offensive boards and crash the defensive boards, that's all they need out of him. They don't need him to try to be what Jeff Green was, because he'll fail in that role. He needs to star.
Yeah.
He's got to star in his role, and that's got to be doing a lot of the muck work.
And he can't be try to be Atlanta Millsap. Like those days are over.
He's the other thing about him. He has two things that I really, really like, especially for this team, and especially for the time being when Kyrie's out. He's super active with his hands on defense, which he's always been, and he's really smart. And the second thing is he's a really, really like special passer, and you can actually like not totally like, but you can somewhat run an offense through him because he has a good head and he can be a good passer.
Right.
So like with second units, I think that helps a ton. And so I just think he's like a smart addition. And like, look, let's call a spade a spade. He's also a really strong big body that's gonna help in the playoffs against the Embiid and Bams and Giannis's of the world. Like he just is.
Exactly. Like there's nothing you could do about Giannis. Giannis even looks better than he did last year. He's shooting a mid range. He's shooting a three. Like it's preseason, but if that's real, and of course a 25-year-old player is going to get better. Giannis is going to be the dominant player in the league at some point here. But to if we're gonna beat him, you got to have guys weigh on him. You got to have guys who can at least make him feel them. You're not trying to. There's nothing you could do about Giannis. You're just trying to keep Giannis from being 50-point Giannis, and we have the guys who could do that. We didn't have that last year. That's definitely the truth. And, how did you guys think KD looked?
I thought he looked good. I mean, it's funny. He's so like unselfish and so good that there's stretches of games where it's like he doesn't see the ball like as much as you want, and obviously because James has it so often. But KD looked great to me. I mean that little elbow jump, like post ups that they run with him is unstoppable. The defender's at the mercy whether he makes it or not.
Yep.
So he looked like he's ready to go. I thought James had his best performance tonight in the preseason. He had been looking a little sloppy, but he started to find his groove a little bit.
Yeah,
I felt good about the performance overall.
He was more in his bag. He was trying stuff the last few games, stuff that didn't work. but this game, he was in his like the physicality, the things he can do with the ball that other people can't do was more evident tonight. Like tonight he threw this pass, right? Like it just a hard bounce pass that watching on television you can't appreciate.
You talking about the one that Nick Claxton dunked?
No.
That pass was insane though.
That pass was freakish too, but this pass didn't work at all. Like one of the Timberwolves like got in front of it or kicked it, but it was if he didn't kick it, if he would, that pass was about to thread like the entire Timberwolves team and hit Nick Claxton in stride, and just the speed and the pace of the ball. Oh, he's a different type of human being, man. Like they should make Wes Anderson films about him because he's just like this eccentric rich guy that just comes out and hoops, and it's insane to watch, man. I hope they whoever we pick to play next to him at the guard position, I hope that person we have to stop looking at the superstars to unlock the other players. The other players are there to unlock the superstars. I think that needs to be the philosophy. So if Steve Nash is starting Joe Harris at the 2, he has to do the things. Joe Harris has to be successful at doing the things that allow James Harden to be James Harden. If he puts Kevin Durant at the 4, whoever he puts at the 5, and it's probably going to be Blake Griffin, at which I don't agree with, who he puts at the 5 should unlock Kevin Durant, should make Kevin Durant better. And I think the best Kevin Durant is at small forward. So that's my small little thing. I would like to keep, I would like to be able to just exploit having these great players on the team, and you gotta put the people in that, like when you put Bruce Brown in, as good as Bruce Brown has been and how many wins he's affected, when you put Bruce Brown in and to play in the dunker spot and play, in the middle, that makes it where Kevin Durant has to fill in as the big, and I just don't think that's a great usage of Kevin Durant. Did you guys have any similar critiques of the way Nash is deploying people or intends to employ people, deploy players?
To me, it really looks like he's just trying stuff. I mean, I saw a lineup, I think it was the other night, where he had Brown, Bembry, and Claxton in together. Like, I don't think you'll ever see that in a regular season game, barring like major injuries and blowouts like that. So it's really too early to. I'm not going to critique him because I don't really know what his plans are here. But I do agree with your overall point, though, is that the players around those guys are supposed to be complementary pieces to the stars.
Right.
Not and obviously we're not worried about getting Bembry shots, right? Bembry's out there to do dirty work and get the ball back to James Harden. So, I think one of the main things that they have to just figure out is how they're going to defend backcourts and how they're going to deploy their center rotation. I think those first 20 games, they're going to kind of fiddle around with that.
Yeah, I totally echo everything that Matt just said. I mean, look, when you have like Durant and Harden on their own with a team of like purely average NBA players is about around like a high 40s, if not like a 50-win team, and you got both of them. So like, it's just everything just gets easier when you have superstars. Like there's no way around it. I think they're going to be and I think that you can workshop like all different lineups because you have the safety blanket of Durant and Harden. Like it's just it just allows you to try out a gazillion different things and see what happens. Like it just does.
So one of the concerning things for me tonight is one of the things that I'm most excited about. I guess this is what being a Nets fan is all about. Is these contradictions with ourselves. I love Nick Claxton. Tonight, post game, he said he thinks he's one of the best defenders in the league. Before I finish my point, is he crazy, Matt?
Yeah, probably. I guess define one of, what does that mean? But yeah, I think that's what he should be aspiring to be, though. So I think that if that comes out of his mouth, like, at least to me, that's a guy that knows his strengths and knows what he brings. So, he's a little bit of a cocky kid. Like, he does like these weird shimmies every time he gets a dunk, but he's probably crazy, but I think the mindset is right.
I think it's what he's supposed to think, right? He's supposed to say that to himself. But at the same time, I want to agree with him. I think from his draft class and down, I don't think there's a better defender in that group. I love what's the kid in Atlanta that we all wanted to see?
Collins?
No, the 6'10" wing. What's his name?
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish, yes. Like we have to imagine that guy who's agile enough to guard shooting guards and long enough to guard power forwards. We have to think that guy should develop to being one of the best defenders in the league because of the natural tools that he has. But he doesn't guard 1 to 5. He's not that consistent of a one-on-one on-ball defender, and that's the freakish thing about Nick Claxton. He's a good one-on-one on-ball defender 1 through 5. Guarding the 5 might be his worst. Like that might be where he's a little bit physically incapable of guarding guys who are bigger. Like,
look, he's the best wing defender on this team.
There's no doubt. And him and Kevin Durant look amazing together. It looks like evolved, like humans who were hatched out of eggs to play basketball. Long arms, athletic, quick, agile, 7-footers, basically. And you have 2 of them on the floor. So I'm excited about that part of the kid. I like the mentality, but I don't like the fact that he's out of shape.
Dude, this has been an issue with him. He gets gassed quickly.
He could be a really major part of this team if he got in the gym, and like all of it is there for him to get in the gym. He said tonight that he's battling sickness. What? What? You're battling what?
Yeah, he was out in illness the other day, non-COVID related.
You know what? It's unfair